If there's one thing the Jurassic Park and World sagas are known for, it's their knack for introducing some of the weirdest and scariest dinosaurs ever known to audiences. Whether they're hyper-intelligent raptors, venom-spitting dilophosaurs, or frightening fictional hybrids. But one of the newest additions to the franchise has gotten even the fans scratching their heads. Because even by weird dinosaur standards, this one takes the cake. With its tall, singular hump on its back and gnarly appearance, Becklespinax is unlike anything introduced into the franchise so far. But what's the deal with this critter? Why does it have the hump? Is it even real? What is Becklespinax? While it might surprise you, Becklespinax is a real dinosaur, one of the first ever discovered, with its remains having been recovered during the 19th century. But these days, Becklespinax goes by a different name, with the genus currently classified under the name Ultispinax instead. At least, that's the current consensus in the science department. You see, Beckel and Ultispinax have a very convoluted history, due to being named after some very isolated fossil material. The material in question being only 3 enlarged vertebrae, or backbones, that would have created a hump-like structure on the spine of this spinax. Back when these vertebrae were first discovered, they were originally labeled under the name Megalosaurus dunkeri in the 1850s. In fact, it's the reason why so many early depictions of Megalosaurus have humps on their backs. However, this was relatively early in dinosaur paleontology, when our understanding of dinosaurs was extremely limited. And as the decades passed, the secrets these dinosaurs held began to unravel, and with them came the realization that the remains of the so-called Megalosaurus dunkeri belonged to a brand new genus that would go on to be named Ultispinax in 1923. But the rabbit hole only goes deeper from here. As the remains of Ultispinax were examined and re-examined throughout the 20th century, paleontologists grew skeptical of this new identity for Spinax, due to the remains the name was assigned to being from different locations. The aforementioned vertebrae from England, and an additional tooth from Germany. This put the name of Ultispinax in question, and Ultispinax was briefly determined to be an invalid name, due to both the tooth and vertebrae being found in different places, along with the tooth not having any diagnostic traits to set it apart from any other known carnivorous dinosaur. And the paleontologists behind the study thought that the name Ultispinax was applied to the tooth first, not the vertebrae. This led to the authors of this study labeling the backbones under a new name, Becklespinax, after the fossil hunter Samuel Beckles, aka the very fossil hunter that discovered the vertebrae in the first place. And the name Becklespinax pretty much stuck throughout the 1990s and 2000s in most media and literature. It wasn't until 2016 when the history of Becklespinax was re-examined, and it was revealed that the name Ultispinax was indeed assigned to the vertebrae first, and as a result, Becklespinax was once again found to sit under the label of Ultispinax, and has sat there since. So why is Chaos Theory's Ultispinax called Becklespinax then? As mentioned before, the name Becklespinax was the one used throughout the 1990s and 2000s in literature, and as a result, it's likely that the creative team, when doing the research for what creatures they wanted to use, they likely pulled an outdated source, or at least a source that didn't have the name updated back to Ultispinax. But whatever the case may be, regardless of the name, the remains of the creature that earned it were just as odd as the history behind it. Becklespinax, or more correctly, Ultispinax, lived in what is now Europe, with what little remains that we've collected have been recovered from England and potentially Germany, with said remains dating back as far as 140 million years ago during the early Cretaceous. This unusual, mysterious dinosaur is often being suspected of a carcharodontosaurid, a type of a large carnosaur with tall vertebrae and shark-like teeth, whose members include the high-spined Acrocanthosaurus and the southern giant Giganotosaurus. Except, Ultispinax was much older than either of them, representing a much earlier form of Carcharodontosaur. But the question is often raised in regards of what form this took. The enlarged spines of Ultispinax were notably similar to those of Acrocanthosaurus. Fittingly, they were often reconstructed based on Acro for much of its history, as a large theropod with a ridge-like hump running down its back. That is, until the 2010s with the discovery of Concavinator, another early Carcharodontosaurid with a singular, camel-like hump on its back. When the two were compared, it was noted that the vertebrae of Spinax featured similar fusion to the bones of Concavinator, suggesting that Spinax may have instead looked much more similar to Concavinator than Acro, creating a singular tall hump instead of said ridge. However, it should be noted that while both Concavinator and Ultispinax had these neural arches, both of their vertebrae still differed in many ways. We can only make educated inferences on what Ultispinax might have looked like, until we find more of the material of this oddball animal, and figure out what or what didn't the hump look like. To Beckel or not to Beckel? That does seem to be the question, doesn't it? But Beckel or not, Spinax is downright one of the most intriguing, obscure dinosaurs in the fossil record. Who knows? Maybe whatever remains that are waiting to be discovered are sitting right beneath our noses in a museum basement. And maybe, just maybe, chaos theory might encourage them to give them a second look.
It's the essence of chaos.